I was with my fiance for the last 8 years, engaged for one. All of my friends and family disliked her. However, she was with me when I had nothing and was nothing. She was the love of my life, and although she had flaws, she was perfect for me. I loved her so much, but hated living paycheck to paycheck. I wanted a home, a family, a career. I wanted to be a provider. I decided to change our lives. I spent the last 5 years building and creating a career that could sustain our future forever. But in doing so, I was there less for her. I was under a lot of pressure constantly and just begged her to hang on. I asked her to trust me. The plan was to get married and start our new lives in January, but it took too long for her. She began talking to more and more male friends, sometimes staying up late and talking to them on the phone while I slept. She became physically and emotionally distant. I tried to fix things, but the harder I tried, the further she pulled away. Things kept getting worse until one day I came home to an empty apartment. She had packed her things, moved money into a separate account, and left me with a goodbye note. I sat on the living room floor and cried that night, and for several nights I was absolutely crushed. It was very dark for the first few weeks. The last 5 years of my life all seemed to have been for nothing. I was trying to build a future for us, not for me. Now it felt as though I was crossing the finish line alone. If I had known this path would cause me to lose her in the process, I never would have pursued it. About a week ago, she reached out to me and we talked about everything. She said she still loved me and wanted to make things work, but just could not be alone anymore. She claims that nothing ever happened with any of the guys she had talked to, and that they were truly just friends. She says she didn't have anyone to talk to and was just lonely and miserable. She felt alone in her relationship. She wants to do couples counseling and see if we can make things work. All of my friends and family, who never liked her, claim it's because of her constant dishonesty. They say she is not an honest person and are basically telling me to run and never look back. Despite all of the pain she has caused me, I still love and care for her so much. I tried to fix things many times, but she never reciprocated any of my attempts. In fact, when I was at the peak of genuinely trying to be the best man for her that I could, she left me without saying a word. The day she left, she told me she loved me and to have a good day. As soon as I left, she immediately began packing her things. I just didn't understand how she could run away like that without saying anything. After 8 years, I don't even get a face-to-face goodbye. It just felt like the ultimate betrayal. How could someone that loves me cause me so much pain? I just don't understand why try to fix things now after causing me so much pain. I'm worried about trust and loyalty. How can I ever know if I won't come home to an empty house again? I just don't know what's true and what's not true anymore. It seems like she has been lying for a while, which is why so many of the people in my life didn't like her. They've since told me some of the lies she has told them. Now I wonder, was she lying to me too? Every part of me wants to do counseling and pour everything into making this work. I want her back. I want our old lives back. I will finally have the time to be there again. But everyone is telling me I'm an idiot. Has anyone been in this situation before? I genuinely don't know what to do. To add, thank you for all of the comments. You know that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when you know something feels wrong? I felt that a few times these last few months. Deep down, I knew she was unfaithful. I also knew she would never admit it. I've always told my friends I have 3 things that matter to me: respect, honesty, and integrity. You can get along with anyone if you're respectful, honest, and carry yourself with integrity. My ex essentially disregarded all my core values. To take her back would be going against everything I stand for. You all confirmed what I knew I had to do, but was hoping to get talked out of. Thank you all for giving me the affirmation I needed to get out. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I just don't understand why you would try to fix things now, after causing me so much pain. The guy she left you for was a dud. Original poster. Even if you accept she hasn't been cheating, she has. You're correct. You will never know what she will do next time she feels restless. Don't do it to yourself. You will regret it forever. She will never be a safe partner for you. Comment 2. She claims that nothing ever happened with any of the guys she talked to and that they were truly just friends. What? She says she didn't have anyone to talk to and was just lonely and miserable, so she struck out finding a new or better sucker to leech off of. Listen to your friends and family. Now for the update. A few weeks after I decided to move on with my life, I started to throw myself into work. Not just for the distraction, but I really needed the money. I was trying to save up for a down payment on a house. Well, a condo. Baby steps, right? It felt like I was living my life in fast forward. I also picked up some personal hobbies. I'd always wanted to get into fitness, so I joined a local gym. I even joined a basketball league for some good, old-fashioned, competitive fun. I can't say I'm good at it, but at least I was trying, and meeting new people was a bonus. I found myself going out more, doing things, and just generally living life. It felt good. One Saturday, I went to a friend's birthday party at a bar downtown. I was just chilling, having a good time, when I met this woman named Sarah. She was awesome. We hit it off right away. She was into fitness and movies, which are two of my favorite things. We talked for hours, and I didn't even notice how quickly time flew by. We exchanged numbers, and I went home thinking about how cool it was to meet someone like her. A week later, we went on a casual date to a bowling alley. Yeah, I know, not the most original first date idea, but we had a blast. I was surprised at how competitive we both got with it. I won, by the way. Had to brag a little, but seriously, we really clicked. I was genuinely having fun and smiling, something I hadn't done in a while. In the middle of all this, I got a text from my ex-fiance. Yeah, the one who left me hanging. She wanted to know how I was doing. I didn't respond right away, though I should have probably blocked her number then and there. A few days later, I was at the gym when I got a phone call from her. Naturally, I answered. She sounded really upset and wanted to talk about our past. She started going on and on about how lonely she's been since we broke up. She said she was seeing a therapist and wanted to make amends, but I felt like I was listening to the same old story. I just stayed distant and didn't say too much. I mean, what was there to say? I was happy with Sarah. Speaking of Sarah, I was still seeing her, and she was super supportive and understanding about the whole ex situation. She knew what happened, and she was just so cool about everything. One Saturday night, I had a family dinner at my parents' house. My mom asked about my love life, and I casually mentioned Sarah. My sister, Kate, was surprised at first, but really happy for me. It felt good to tell my family I was moving on. Then out of nowhere, my ex-fiance showed up at the restaurant with a friend. My heart raced when I saw her coming toward our table. She was looking for me. I just sat there, frozen, not knowing how to react. My family was confused and giving each other weird looks. She smiled when she saw me, but I just stayed seated. She started to apologize for everything in front of my family and their confused faces. I couldn't believe it. I stood up and told her to leave. I made it clear I didn't want to engage with her. She started arguing with me, saying she changed and wanted to explain. Then my brother Jake jumped in, defending me and telling her to respect our family time. The whole place was tense, and I felt it creeping up. It was crazy. I just couldn't deal with it. I walked away from the table, and my family followed me outside. I took a deep breath and was seriously thankful for their support. I decided right then to block my ex's number and all her social media accounts. I knew I had to do it to move on completely. A few days later, I heard through some mutual friends that my ex was dating one of her male friends. Good for her, I guess. Meanwhile, my relationship with Sarah just kept getting better. We were planning a weekend getaway, and I was excited about it. One evening, I got a message from my ex's friend asking if I was okay. I told her I was happy and focused on my new relationship. That's when she hinted that my ex was spreading rumors about me. I was like, seriously? I needed to know exactly what was going on, so I confronted my ex's friend directly. She told me that my ex was saying I was bitter and still hung up on her. I was so annoyed. That's when I decided to post a lighthearted photo with Sarah on social media. The caption was something like, enjoying life and moving on. It was a good photo. I looked good, and so did Sarah. I wanted my ex to see it. Soon after, I found out my ex saw the post. She reacted negatively to it, and her frustration just kept building. Honestly, it was just petty. Edit, I learned later that my ex had tried to ruin my relationship with Sarah by making false accusations to our friends. Thankfully, they all knew her history and didn't believe her. I eventually spoke to my ex's friend again, who confirmed that my ex was still causing drama. I told her I wanted no part in it and to just block me from anything related to my ex. We agreed to just move on. Sarah and I are doing great, and I couldn't be happier. Am I the idiot for wanting to kick my husband to the curb after he played innocent with his coworker? A year ago this week, I, a 37-year-old woman, was diagnosed with leukemia. It's been a really horrible year for all of us. I've had a grueling chemotherapy regimen and spent many months in the hospital very poorly in protective isolation. I got sepsis, and it's just been very scary. I've been home for 5 months in remission and recovering. I've been so grateful for my husband of 11 years, who is 36 years old. He has looked after our children, home, and animals so well in my absence. Tonight, I received a text message from an unknown number telling me my husband is sleeping with a woman he works with called Claire. From the nickname used in the message, I know it is someone who knows him at work, as that is the only place he goes by this name. A few months ago, I was very paranoid about his relationship with Claire, as the way he was talking about her was odd. It was so similar to how he spoke when he was cheating 2 years into our marriage. I asked him. He said absolutely nothing was happening, and we moved on. After receiving the message and asking him about it tonight, he has admitted that he has been flirting over messages and in person with Claire, but realized he was crossing a line and put a stop to it about a month ago. I am recovering. I have to prioritize my children, and I don't think I can do it on my own. It would be difficult, but I know if I was well, I could be alone just fine. But I'm poorly and recovering, and I just don't think I can do it. I'm so tired. For context, he cheated on me 2 years into our relationship. He left me for a few months and continued a relationship with a girl he worked with named Katie. He kept it hidden from me even after he left. When I found out and he knew it, he begged for me to take him back. We went to marriage counseling, and it's not been easy, but we have, or so I thought, worked through it. I am heartbroken and do not know what to do. I know I absolutely do not deserve this. I fear this is just the person he is. I didn't choose a loyal one. I guess sometimes good people do bad things, but how do you react? What do I do? Now for an update. Thank you for all the kind comments. Well, it's been a horrid few days of processing and trying to get some idea of what has been going on. My husband admitted that he was not honest. It didn't end a month or so ago. It ended the very night I received the anonymous text message. My husband is absolutely adamant that it wouldn't have gone anywhere. It was harmless. I pointed out that if it was harmless and not an issue, he wouldn't have worked so hard at hiding it from me. He has cried and begged for me to not leave him. I'm not able to process this at the moment. I'm just so sad and tired. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. He's an unkind person, and you deserve better. He may be a good father, but he's not a loyal man, and he absolutely does not respect you. The fact that you stayed with him even after he left to date another woman behind your back is unbelievable. Consult a lawyer. Your children and your health are your priority, not some man-child who can't control himself. Is there any family nearby with whom you can stay for a while? You need to get out of this negative environment. Comment 2. When you stay with a cheater, you tell them you are okay with being cheated on. Find an attorney and get a divorce. He'll still be able to look after the children, and you'll have a massive source of stress lifted. Please check out the Chump Lady website. Now, for the update. A couple of days after my last post, I was chilling at home with the kids when I got a text from my husband. He said he had to work late and wouldn't be home for dinner. Super random and not his style at all. So, me being me, I decided to check his work schedule. Guess what? He wasn't even scheduled to work late that night. I get to his office, and his car is parked outside, but he's not there. Then I see Claire, the coworker or whatever, leaving the building with this small box, looking all sketchy and nervous. What's in the box? Office supplies? I doubt it. I walk up to her and she jumps, dropping the box and spilling its contents everywhere. Surprise, surprise, it's just office supplies. She quickly picks them up and says she was just working late on a project. Yeah, right. I asked her where my husband was, and she stammers out some lame excuse about him being in a meeting. I can tell she's lying. So I decide to wait in the parking lot like a detective or something for my husband to leave work. It feels like forever, but he finally walks out, looking all surprised to see me. Like, you didn't think your wife would come to check on you when you said you were working late? Whatever. He greets me with this forced smile, and I'm like, why did you lie about working late? He fidgets and tries to say he lost track of time finishing up a project. I ask him about Claire, and he brushes it off like she's just a coworker. Yeah, right. We need to talk at home, I tell him, and he reluctantly agrees. At home, the kids are already in bed, and I confront him about the flirting. He insists it's just harmless fun. Then, while we're in the living room, I accidentally find this receipt for a dinner for two at a fancy restaurant, the kind we used to go to when we were dating. I show it to him, and he looks all guilty. He says it was a work dinner, but I'm not buying it. The argument escalates, and he has the nerve to accuse me of being paranoid. So he tries to prove his innocence by showing me his phone. But guess what? All his texts with Claire are deleted. I call him out on it, and he gets all defensive, saying he deleted them to avoid me worrying. Like, how about you don't flirt with your coworkers and I won't worry? The next day, I'm just chilling, and I get a call from my husband's sister. She tells me she saw him out with Claire at a local bar. She thought they were just friends, but noticed them acting all close. My husband comes home later that night, and I confront him about the bar outing. He admits he went, but claims it was just a group outing with coworkers. Insists nothing happened. Yeah, right. She says she can't trust him anymore and wants a separation. He pleads with her to reconsider, but she feels resolute in her decision. A week later, I get this message from Claire, apologizing for everything. She claims she had no idea about my illness and didn't mean to cause harm. By the end of the week, my husband moves in with his sister while I handle everything at home. Edit. Sometime after the last update, I received a call from my husband's sister, asking about the situation. I explained everything, and she admitted to seeing my husband and Claire at a local bar. She thought it was just a friendly gathering, but noticed them being overly close. Am I the idiot for cutting ties with my ex-fiance after he tried to rekindle our relationship despite his baby pact? About a year ago, I was dating an amazing man who was 31 years old from another European country, just a 2-hour flight away. We had an incredible connection, and our families got along brilliantly. My mom adored him, and his mom hoped we would be together forever. We spent a year traveling back and forth, with me often staying at his place since my job was more flexible. After a year, he proposed, and I was over the moon. He even planned all the wedding details. But 3 weeks later, he dropped a bombshell. He had a pact with his best friend from school to have a child together when they both turned 35. I was shocked. We had never discussed children. He said he wanted a child regardless of our relationship, and the agreement would only be off if his friend got married. Just to be clear, he was not bisexual. I could not accept this, and eventually he said he was not motivated to stay in the relationship. It was devastating. I had to tell my friends and family the wedding was off, and I found out he had never told his side about it. It felt like a massive betrayal. After a year of no contact, he emailed me saying he had done therapy, he no longer planned to have children, and had thought about me every day. He wanted to meet up. He mentioned he had tried dating someone else, but could not stop thinking about me. I had a similar experience when I tried seeing someone new. I have agreed to have a chat, but I am torn. Part of me wants to give it another go, but I am scared of getting hurt again. What do you think we should do to rebuild trust? Now for an update. Thank you everyone for your comments and insights. After reading them, I have realized I missed out on some details in the post. Sorry about that. Here are some clarifications. He agreed to the baby pact mainly because he had a strong desire to have children, not just to help his female friend. He has acknowledged how much pain he has caused me in the email he wrote. From what he has told me, things have not been easy for him either. It has been painful for both of us. We have not met face to face yet. We will do so this week as he is coming here. He has made an effort to reconsider his plan to have children for the sake of our relationship. He now says he believes that life can be just as rewarding without children. I do not know if he will resent me in the future for this. I feel as though I have been through a traumatic event, and now I have trust issues that I did not have before. All I wanted was to get married. Now, even speaking about weddings feels like turning on a NutriBullet inside my stomach, shredding my insides. The agreement with his friend was made about 5 years ago, before my time and not when they were at school. He did it not because of her, but because he really wanted children. We are both male and gay, not bisexual, and his friend is female and straight. She is still single. Breaking up was not a simple or quick process. It took us 2 painful months last year as we realized we wanted different things, namely children. We had discussed serious and major life plans together, like which country to live in, but we had not talked about children. For me, it was a given since we were gay, a major mistake, as I now realize. For him, it was not. I have learned my lesson not to assume this topic is off the table ever again. In his favor, throughout the relationship, he showed himself to be a very flexible and fair person who could adapt to different situations, but not this one. Maybe he needed more time, or perhaps having children was something too important for him to let go of. He told me he tried dating someone else, but he could not stop thinking about us and felt guilty, so he ended it before they became intimate. I believe him, because exactly the same thing happened to me. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I know this wasn't the point of this post, but proposing marriage to someone and telling no one on his side of the family is a huge red flag. You even mentioned his mother adores you, so why would he keep that news to himself? Sounds to me like a guy with more secrets you may have to find out about later. Comment 2. I wouldn't get back with him. He waited until you were engaged to tell you. He put an ultimatum on you. He basically told you he was going to cheat on you. Do you know why he changed his mind? Was it even his choice not to have a child, or did the friends cancel their deal? He doesn't sound trustworthy. Now for the update. I met with the guy. We went to this cozy Italian place we used to go to like all the time, back when things were good. But man, sitting there felt so awkward. Like, how do you even act normal in a place where we used to laugh and enjoy life? I walked in, and he was late. I swear, the dude looked like he just ran a marathon. He was all fidgety and immediately apologized for being late. So I was like, whatever, it's fine. I thought we could just relax and go back to enjoying the food, but no idiots here. The words coming out of our mouths felt so forced. We were just being polite, like two strangers who don't know how to connect. So the first real thing he says was how therapy helped him realize he didn't want kids anymore. I mean, that was a whole mess. I asked him about that baby pact, and he confirmed it was still a big part of his life. He was just trying to express how lonely he felt after we broke up and how he regretted what happened. Honestly, I felt kind of sorry for him. I mean, I know it was a rough time. He lost a lot of people in his life. I did too. But I wasn't trying to play therapist for him or anything. And then right then, a couple at the table next to us got engaged. And all I could think was, how the heck is this happening right now? I felt so mixed up inside. Like I was happy for them, but at the same time, the memories just hit hard. So there we are, talking about all this heavy stuff, and he tries to reach across the table to hold my hand. I pulled back like a reflex. I didn't even think about it. He looked hurt, and I could hear a bit of frustration in his voice. Thankfully, the waiter showed up with our food so we could eat in peace for a second. After we were done, he brought up wanting to reconnect fully. Honestly, that conversation freaked me out, but I just nodded like, yeah, sure. I was just trying to get through the night without losing it. We changed topics, and I mentioned my brother's wedding coming up. My brother is just getting married now. He asked if we would go together. Like, really? You want us to show up as a couple? I was like, I don't know about that. After all that heavy stuff, we both felt like we needed to get out of there. On the way out, he suggested we take a trip. I don't know what he was thinking. I said I needed space, and his face went all dark for a second. The next day, he texted me asking for a second chance. A week later, I went to my brother's wedding. I knew he was going to be there, but I didn't expect him to be so, persistent. He came up to me during the reception trying to make small talk. It was super awkward. During the wedding toast, my brother mentioned starting a family. I felt trapped. The guy took that as a sign to bring up family, and I dismissed it so fast. Like, no way, dude. Not in front of my whole family. After that night, I overheard him talking to my brother. They were discussing us, and he was acting like he was still all in for a future together. I can't even explain how mad that made me. It was like he didn't even get the point. I decided it was time to put my foot down. I confronted him, and we had a heated argument. I walked away feeling like I was in control. The next week, I saw on social media that he was dating someone new. The last time he reached out, he asked why we couldn't just be friends. I replied, I think it's best we go our separate ways. I was done. Edit. We talked after the wedding about being friends, but it felt forced and awkward. Seeing him with someone else was tough. I figured it was better to move on without any ties. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.